This is the House of Leah podcast. I am your host, Fallon, and we are back. This is episode 3. And here at the House of Leah is where, say it with me, folks, the unseen are seen. Let's get started. Okay, so we're back. This is episode 3, as I said before. I'm starting to get a little bit more comfortable in this seat. I will say it is not easy. I am an avid podcast listener, and this is not an easy medium to be a part of. I initially work in the space of filmmaking. I initially work in the filmmaking medium. So I've been doing that since 2014 when I had the opportunity to be a PA on this show in Baltimore, and it changed my life. I had known prior to that when someone put a camera in my hands in high school, and where I was just like, this is incredible and it's the best feeling ever. And I was like, God, if this is your will, please make it your way, which is kind of the subject of what I'm going to talk about today. And forgive me, I know like everything is about videos and seeing people's lives and everything. Please bear with me if you're listening. And I know by the grace of God, somebody's going to listen to this years from now and hear it and be like, oh, that's cool. At least she put up the audio track to go with it. But it is my prayer to have the video to be associated with it too. Obviously, I am a filmmaker, but I am somebody who typically likes to be behind the camera, not in front of the camera. But I'm going to do my best. Because as I said, I am an avid podcast listener. This is not an easy thing to be a part of. It's not an easy medium to contribute to. It's not like just picking up a camera, setting up shots and lighting and everything. This is like me dishing it all and kind of producing it as it comes out. I do a little bit of pre-production ahead of time, but I think the best podcasts are the most authentic podcasts. So initially I had come in here like, oh, I'm going to do the 3rd episode, but I don't think I need to be spilling all of that so soon. And I've spilled a lot of information about myself. I spent a lot of information about myself. So I'm actually going to start doing this a little bit differently, where I am recording on Wednesdays and putting the podcast out on Thursdays. What I was doing was recording a week prior and then putting that episode out so that I could record on that Wednesday and then put out an episode on Wednesday, but it was taking me a little longer than I thought. And you know what? God was just showing me people don't need to hear part 3 of my story. Let's hold on to that for a different day when there's nothing to talk about. But right now, I just wanted to talk about a few things because I've been going through a couple of things. And I really think that people right now, especially with the high unemployment rates, and I believe it's like 7.7% of Black women are unemployed. And I'm a Black woman. And a lot of the unemployment came from this area that I'm currently in, which is like the DMV area. People are really going through a tough time, and people are really trying to discern what's their path. Where does God want them to be? Where am I supposed to be in this grand scheme of things, like God's plan versus my plan? What does that look like? And it may have looked like, God, I did all of these steps. I've checked all of these boxes and now I'm jobless. What do I do? But before I get into that, I just wanted to share a little story, just to let you know, like I've been going through mentally like a lot, just trying to figure out where God wants me to do, where he wants me to move, and not necessarily seeking an answer from an outside source, but seeking the only answer from the primary source, which is God and Creator. I'm not trying to figure it out from anybody. I'm not trying to figure it out from me or my parent or whomever, because I've come to learn parents don't always have the answers. Try as they may, they love us and they want to give us the best result for our lives. They're human just like we are. So when in doubt, we have to go to God. But aside from that, I have been going through some things, but I've been in prayer and just trying to listen, just trying to hear what God is saying to me. A couple days ago, my dad went to the hospital and he has CPOD. I hope I'm saying that right, which is a respiratory illness, but it's disease, basically. So I think it's a chronic disease where it doesn't go away. It just gradually gets worse, like emphysema. So he's been smoking cigarettes and weed and since he was a little kid, pretty much like 11, 12. He's been exposed to all different sources of drugs and poor health conditions for years. And I mean, it's not like he grew up next to a nuclear plant or anything like that, but the idea of smoking and drinking and weed and putting a bunch of different products into your body daily, like food products like fried foods and things like that, they don't help your health. They help it decline. And when there's not information there, you'll succumb to it. So I'm glad he's lived this long, right? So he's up there now. He's pretty up there. Like my dad and I have a pretty big age gap between the two of us. But he's up there, and it's actually a blessing that he's made it this long. I remember when I was younger, I was a daddy's girl. There was nothing this man could not do. He's 6'2", he's handsome, he's built like a lean god. And no, I mean, his body isn't amazing, but he just looked like a very handsome, lean, well put together man. Always when he puts on his clothes and he's dapper, he looks like $1,000,000. Like that was what I was used to seeing as far as the vision of what a man looks like. And when I got older, when I became a woman, I started to see he's just a man. He's no special. He's nothing special. He's just a man who happens to be my dad. What I've realized over the years is like I was able to see my dad's faults, but I wasn't able to see how much of him I was like. My father and I are literally the same person. I'm just in girl form. But I found myself really judging him for all of his past behaviors, his misfortunes, his irrational behavior, his impulsivity, his anger, his wrath, his lack of accountability, so many different things. And then it was like God showed me, you're just like him. So who are you to judge him? And I said, okay, well, you're right, God. Recognize like, oh God, you're trying to show me that I need to be empathetic to someone I'm just like I want people to be empathetic to me and treat me. I need to extend that. Now, my dad has done some really not so nice things to me to be vindictive, and I'm not going to go over that because I've forgiven him for those things. Things that other people would just flat out say, I'm never talking to this person again. And for a while, that's where I was. But I really had to dig deep and pray and ask God to change my heart. Not change his, change mine. And I don't know why I feel like I needed to talk about my dad in this moment. It might just be because he's in the hospital. He's okay. He's doing better, but he will gradually succumb to this disease. But I guess what I'm really trying to say, and maybe this is just God putting this on my heart, is that we should forgive our parents because they're just human beings. And as much as we cannot stand some of the things that they do and some of the things that they've hurt us for, we do have to be forgiven because one day we're going to be parents by his grace. And one day we're going to make 1,000,001 mistakes trying to rear this child. So forgive your parents and love your parents. Cherish your parents while they're here because they won't last forever. No one does. So I'm off my soapbox. And today we are going to be talking about God's plan versus our plan. And I'm not trying to sound like no preacher, bro, but that's what it sounds like, don't it? Let me think about this for a second. Okay, I'm done. Okay, so recently I've been wondering, God, what do you want me to do? Right? How is it that I'm here currently in this position, got all this education, went to film school, went to undergrad. I'm smart according to people, but I can't evolve past a certain point. There are people right now who have gone to school, gotten their masters, done the things because society has told us that in order to secure a successful future, we must do the following: finish high school, get a degree in something, get a job, and then maybe get another degree in that something that makes us a master at that craft. It doesn't make us smarter, because that's inherent. You're born with your intellect. But can you gain knowledge through life? Absolutely. And that's what that does. So I've checked these boxes. Pop, 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 pop. Now, give me all the things that this world has promised me. And then that might happen for some of us. For some of us, it does not. And now we're here trying to figure out, God, what's popping? What am I supposed to do right now? Where do you want me on this chessboard? And it becomes like a struggle between what God values and what you value. We sometimes interpret our blessings as money, financial gain, houses, cars, accomplishments, and maybe they are. Who am I to say? But I think at a certain point, we start to place our value on all of the things versus God and what he asked us to do. I happen to be listening to a sermon from 28:19, and they were talking about Abraham and Isaac. And if you know the story of Abraham and Isaac, it was when, I believe, because I be messing stuff up. So I should probably look at my Bible that's in front of me, but I ain't finna do it. But I'm pretty sure I got the story right. But anyway, basically, God was like, you need to sacrifice this son because this is your prized possession. This is the one thing you love more than anything, maybe even me. And Abraham is like, God, you just gave me this little boy. Now you want me to get rid of him? Okay, well, how about the second one? Because he's cool, but he's not the first. God said, I said what I said.
I said what I said.
So Abraham said, okay. So he took him to the top of this mountain, and he laid him down, and he was about to kill his son for God. God sent an angel and said, you don't have to do that. I just wanted to make sure. You was putting some respect on my name. I just wanted to make sure you was who you said you were. Tap your name on me so I know it's real. Insert the clip.
Tap my name on you, girl, so I know it's real.
God said, tap my name on you so I know it's real. And he was going to give up his son for God. There have been many days where I'm just like, God, I don't know what you want me to do. I will give it. I'm giving it all up for you. But then I went back and did the exact opposite. Like that time he told me to sit my butt down in Maryland and I went back to LA. But you know what? Nothing materialized because I didn't listen. I wasn't obedient. This is a recurring theme. But Isaac, he was obedient. Well, Abraham was obedient to God when he said, give me Isaac. But also, look how amazing God was because he gave us his only begotten son as a sacrifice to all of his children. So who are we to hold on to this thing that we value so much that we can't give it up to God? I'll be honest with you. I love filmmaking. I love my parents. I love my sibling. I love them. I love my nephew. Would I willingly give them up? Maybe. I would be hesitant. That's the truth. I would probably be hesitant at first. But to give them over to God is like, I know God is bigger and better than me and whatever I have. So I know like me giving up filmmaking is like, okay, I know you're bigger and better than anything. Now I'll be honest, even me saying that hurt a little bit because I've given it up before. I'm done. Like, I'm done. I don't know. I'm done, God. I don't know what it is. And then somebody's like, well, if you're making content strictly about God, then I'm sure he wants you to do it. But did God say that or did you say that? I'm going to wait for the answer because I have given it up before. But there are times when he's just put it back in my hand. Or there are times when he said, I never told you to do that. I just told you to choose me. So for those of us right now who are afraid of what's going to happen when we let God come first, don't be. It's scary to not have money. It's scary to not work. It's scary to not have the normalcy or the security in finances that you once had. Because what we're taught, again, is that these steps lead to success. Very rarely are we taught, follow God and listen to what he's telling us to do before we make any moves. I'll be honest. I keep saying I'll be honest. Most of us, and I think we're taught this, is like pray and then do it anyway. I think that's really what it is. I was thinking about this the other day. A lot of the things is like, okay, I'm going to pray and I'm going to do it. And if it works, then God wants it. And if it doesn't, then he doesn't. Versus pray and wait to hear what he has to say. But that seems like a difficult task because a lot of us don't understand that God can speak to us. It's not necessarily or always verbally. Sometimes it's just a feeling. I'm not supposed to go there. I'm not supposed to do that. Most of us know it. Some of us ignore it. And then we have to pay the consequences. I'll be honest, when I think totally about making projects that are geared towards deliverance and the gospel, I feel comfortable in that space. I feel confident in that space that this is God's will for me to use my talents here. But when there are other things, I get worried and I have to pray because I have to be able to discern. God, is this you talking? Is it me talking? Or is it the enemy? Is the enemy trying to infiltrate? Is the enemy trying to tell me God doesn't like you right now because you're doing this? God's going to punish you right now because you're doing this. But in the book of Isaiah, it says, let him be your fear. Let him be your dread. He shall become a sanctuary. And what I glean from that is when I'm scared, when I'm fearful, when I'm dreadful, I need to take it to God. When there's confusion about why I'm not getting a job and I have all these accolades, take it to God. Because the fear is not of God. That's spoken in Timothy. Now, I don't know all the verses now. Don't get me to lying. But fear is not of God. And a friend of mine told me that, and I had to go back and reread it. Take your dread and your fear to God, not to you, not into your own internal feeling or your own internal way of trying to make the numbers add up, because sometimes they just do not. No matter how much we try to get the answer. And I will be the first person to tell you, all I do is try to find the answer. But at some point I realized I can't find this answer because I don't know it. And I was making the feelings that I felt in that moment my God and reign over me versus just taking it to the source. And I had to say, are you praying first? When you start to feel dread, when you start to feel when you start to feel fearful because you don't have a job, you don't have a husband, you don't have kids, the money is looking funny, or you're having problems with your kids, you're having problems with your husband, you're not able to get pregnant, you're considering abortion, you're going through a same-sex attraction. Do you take that feeling to God or do you take it to yourself? Is it God's plan for you to do these things or is it his? So that's where I want to encourage people, because I just want to say you're not alone. It's a bad feeling right now that people are experiencing, wanting to know where they belong, trying to find community, trying to be encouraged in seasons where encouragement seems impossible. And I'm speaking from my own vantage point. I'm not just talking to talk. I'm talking because this is what I'm going through in this current season. I pray constantly like, God, can you just show me what you want me to fully do with all of my talents? I have so many. I can write a script. I can write my butt off. I can communicate. I can make a film. And I know, I got ADHD. I know I need to stay focused on the task I have at hand. So that's when I start to talk. Me and God have this thing now. It's like, okay, Fallon, you can tell God 1,020 things you got going on, but are you listening? Can he talk? Or is it just a conversation for you? Is it just your plan to have this conversation? Or is it God's plan to have a conversation with you? It's like, I've given you something already. I've given you task already. Stop adding to the plate. And now I'm like, okay, I want to do all these things, but we gonna talk because, and then he's like, didn't I? And I'm like, you're right, you got that. He's like, didn't I? You got it. Didn't I give you that money? You got it, Father. I'm sorry. I apologize. Thank you in advance. And thank you for giving that to me, because we quickly forget. So I don't have the answer for what will happen for people moving forward. I don't. It's an unfortunate situation. But the only thing that I have to say is that though we do have our own plans, we envision for ourselves based off what the world tells us. And we all know, if we know who the world is considered, that the world is deceptive, just like our hearts. The world is the enemy. It's the devil. It's, it just is. And how quickly we can become consumed in it. So I am taking heed, though. I'm here on this microphone every week with like 1.2 listeners, but I'm trusting His will. I'm going to trust you, God. I am letting you be my fear and letting you be my dread. I will wait on the Lord, who hides His face from the house of Jacob, and I will eagerly look for Him. So keep waiting on the Lord. Keep waiting on the Lord. Hallelujah. Keep waiting on God to show you His plan versus yours. And yours might be so laid out, and God might be like, okay, that's cute. I got that in my plan for you too. But I can assure you that He's always bigger, badder, and bolder than anything we can understand, even if things seem gray right now. Continue to keep your head up, people. Continue to love your parents. Continue to have some grace for yourself. Thank you. This has been the House of Leah podcast. God bless. Peace. Have a good week.